see that I will achieve. Because I do the things I should, between my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on to reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, and you hear that theme song, then you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say a very pleasant night to all who are locked into Straight Talk, especially those of you here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we are on the World Wide Web, so I must as well include and send greetings to those of you in the Kittian Division Caribbean diaspora all over the globe, because we are on the World Wide Web. And as such, I am at liberty to say good night. I am at liberty to say good morning, and I'm surely at liberty as well to say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. There are some of you in Africa, there are some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So greetings again, my Straight Talk family. And for the first timers, we say welcome, and we do hope and trust it will not be your last time. And I want to also invite you to tell the world, the whole wide world, if you love Straight Talk. And at the end, if you do not love Straight Talk, find a way to come and tell me. But on this program, we facilitate free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. This program, we try to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness. Try to raise the level of discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. And my name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I'm always ready to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. Yes, because we are all called to be God's prophet speaking for the truth and right, and standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. So let's seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. And that's an excerpt from a favorite hymn of mine, my Straight Dog family. And I want to assure you as well and reassure those who've been always with me that absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We do not try to make it more interesting by omission or by exaggeration. We are certainly not about sensationalism. We are not about creating an excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we always try to lean on the facts. It's my duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, especially when it comes to governance in St. Kitts and Nevis, in the region, and throughout the world, because this program joins us together with people across the Federation. Through this program, we are joined with people in the diaspora all over the world. And some we know, and some we may have already met. Others we don't know, and many we will never meet. We will agree in some cases with the positions of truth, advance on straight talk. And some of us will disagree, and that's fine, because we promote what I call a diversity of views. But please, let's not become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God nonetheless for guiding our conversation, or for helping us to understand, I should say. Oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. So let's therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks for those who share the link. As I said, you bring first-timers, so please continue to do so. And for the first-timers, I must inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean, at some stage we include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screens. There are those of you who like the cloak of anonymity, as I call it. So we give you access via our email platform, and that address as well is on your screen. And for those who have the Alexa app, we give you access via Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio, and you are then tuned in. There's some of you who have made donations to support our efforts here on Straight Talk, and we are eternally grateful, and we say thank you. I must also reassure you that your contribution will help us to continue this important service. So others who wish to donate can simply scan the code on your screen to access a payment form. Very simple process. So thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And we say a special welcome to our Junior Brigade. Nothing happens unless I hail my Junior Brigade. They are our big fans, those young ones. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shama, Kevin, Young Rue, Jamal, Travis Travon, Neymar, and Saraya. Nehemiah, my grandson, and his good friend Saraya. And the special lady, of course, must be hailed over there in St. Louis. On a sad note, we extend our condolences to the Spencer family over there in Old Road on the passing of the patriarch of that particular region, Oliver Spencer. And we must extend condolences to his entire family, to Allison, to Nick, to Jack and Mackie, and the entire Old Road community, the Methodist community in particular. I think he served on the Methodist, the preacher for nigh 50 years or more. That's no mean feat. So we extend condolences to the family. We also heard of the passing of Violet Maynard, by my dear friend, Vi. We extend condolences to Charlita and the entire family as well, who are left to mourn her loss. There was some other member I forgot, but let's extend condolences to those who have lost loved ones, or those who I may have missed. And just to remind you that death is a process. You can't say anything, but only who feels it knows it. I just want to tell you that death is a process. And we usually begin with our observation in review. And very early I'm asked to hail Eulalie in Jamaica, who never miss straight talk. Eulalie, if you're logged on, very special night over there on the yard. But we now start with our observations and review, then we move to our thesis. And as mentioned, after our thesis, we move into our calls and our emails, because we give you an opportunity to have your say. And our thesis for tonight I've titled, Give Us Barabbas. So please, therefore, don't you change your platform, don't move your link, just spread the word that Straight Talk is live on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and Alexa, my Straight Talk family. My first observation, though, I will hasten to state that last week, Thursday, we played a voice note that was sent to Straight Talk, which I subsequently confirmed that the content was an accurate account given by an accident patient who was, quote unquote, it appeared, was left to die at the JN France General Hospital. However, the following day, Dr. Jensen Morton, don't recall his position at the hospital, but he's a big man up there, Jensen. And he came to the media and debunked the story of the patient, and Dr. Morton had this to say.
Bring clarity on the issue. So first and foremost, I have to say that it's unfortunate that something like this would be said, because I'm going to have to set the record straight and just state it plainly that what was stated on that voice note was false. And that's why it's unfortunate that someone with false claims would magnify it to such a degree, but I will explain everything.
Okay.
That same gentleman, and I'm limited, that's the problem that we normally have, is that when persons give these false claims, it's difficult to publicly refute them with the actual information, because you run the risk of exposing someone's private medical information. So sometimes they tell a complete lie, and we're kind of trapped because we're limited with what we can say. But there are some things which I can clarify due to the slander which took place. Thing number one, that gentleman was not denied any care. So that has to be clear from the get-go. The hospital is a government entity. It's run by the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, and in accordance with the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, we cannot refuse care to anyone if they want an emergency procedure or a life-saving procedure. We are not allowed to do anything like that. Even if it's something that has a bill attached, you do everything you have to do. You bill the person later, you knock dog with payments later if that is the case. We do not deny care. That gentleman, when he got into his accident on the Friday, the most I can tell you is that he did have surgery. He had his emergency surgery on the Friday. He had 3.5 hours of emergency surgery on the Friday with a myriad of reductions of fractures and other things throughout the body, in his hands and in his legs. I can't get into any more detail except to say that.
Okay.
That he already had his surgery.
Okay, you mentioned...
And it was a bit disappointing. So I was just going to say it's a bit disappointing that in the voice notes, he made it seem as if nobody's touched him and that we've been ignoring him and he hasn't gotten his care. He already got his emergency treatment.
So yes, my Straight Dog family, Dr. Morton speaking there on Freedom Radio on Friday. And as you would have understood, hopefully, that the patient who claimed that he was not touched, in fact, got emergency treatment on the day he entered the hospital. And he was just due the next part of the procedure, which was, quote-unquote, elective surgery. And Jensen Morton said this.
Now, the next part of the care would have been elective treatment, which would have been done by the orthopedic surgeon. The orthopedic surgeon is the same one that would have done the emergency procedure.
Okay.
The elective part of the procedure is one that can wait. It's not something to be done emergently anyway, because the joints and the areas that are broken that need that kind of longer-term repair, those things would be too swollen to operate on immediately. You have to let the inflammation wear down, and then you do the definitive treatment, the ORIF, etc. You do those later down. The gentleman was supposed to have the procedure later down in the week. All that happened was that his surgical date was changed because of the opinion of the consultant that it was not timely to do it on the date it was supposed to be done. Due to the man's own body's reaction, it was delayed.
And yes, my Straight Dog family, so Straight Talk has absolutely no reason to doubt Dr. Jensen Morton, and therefore apologizes for whatever misunderstanding that was caused by the patient whose story was debunked. We trust and hope that his bill that he referred to was sorted out, and more importantly, that he is on the road to recovery. So that's the story in relation to the patient whose voice note went viral, that he was left unattended there at the JN France General Hospital. And our second observation, my Straight Dog family, is something that I have not spoken about for some time, and that is the construction of the desalination plant here in East Basseterre, my constituency, a constituency in which I was born, in which I was raised, and in which I still live. And I'm very familiar with the area in which, or the location in which this desalination plant is being located. And I want to say from the onset, to provide clarification, that nothing is wrong with the project. It's a good project, and I fully support the idea of moving to desalination, because we have issues with water on land, but we are an island surrounded with water, and we can't finish the water in the ocean, or as we say, in the sea. But it is troubling. It is troubling, my Straight Dog family, because there are helter-skelter for those who live in the Bird Rock area would recognize, starting to lay pipes. There was not 1 minute of consultation with the people of Bird Rock and the surrounding areas. And this arrogance, this total disregard, this total disrespect for the people of Bird Rock and the surroundings cannot and must not be condoned. As I said, the issue of the plant is its location. Look at where this plant, again, as the work continues and the pipes have been laid. Look at the surroundings. Look at the seashore where it is. But Soca engineer Conris Maynard don't give one. He don't care about people. And our representative, the slow student Jeffrey Handy, is worse. And my Straight Dog family, again, I'm speaking on behalf of the people of East Basseterre, and in particular Bird Rock. We are troubled. We are troubled because we are concerned about the quality of water that will come from that desalination plant. And we are troubled that no consultation whatsoever and nothing is said to the people of Bird Rock in particular and its surroundings, and more so to East Basseterre. And we have to send them a message whenever that opportunity comes around, because it will come, my Straight Dog family. And we must not tolerate this total disregard and disrespect for us as a people. And those are my observations in review for tonight. And my Straight Dog family, I will now move right into my thesis, which I mentioned earlier, that I have titled, Give Us Barabbas. And today, Holy Monday, signals the beginning of Holy Week, which I'm sure we are aware is the final and the most solemn week of Lent in the Christian calendar leading up to Easter Sunday. This is a time to open our minds, to open ourselves to compassion and to selflessness. It's a time to practice empathy. A time as can be gleaned from the book of John, chapter 13 to be exact, verse 34, in which we are challenged to love one another as Jesus loved us. And many other things happen during Holy Week. Holy Wednesday or Spy Wednesday, a day for examining personal loyalty and integrity. Think of Maundy Thursday, when we have our Last Supper. Don't know if I'll be available to get my communion on Thursday, because we have a special for you on Thursday. And Good Friday, that solemn day marking the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and death. And we carry out our tradition of kite flying all over St. Kitts and Nevis. And I believe there's that special kite flying session down there at Black Rocks come Friday coming. But the significance of the death of Jesus Christ and what it means to the world is a powerful story. Although the part about Barabbas is often overlooked. It is a story of misplaced justice. I dare submit. The crowd shouts for Barabbas, and Pilate, knowing Jesus was innocent, still handed him over. It's a scene of twisted justice, manipulated power, and mob mentality. And what is happening now in St. Kitts and Nevis, and by extension the Caribbean, reminds us how easily truth can be drowned out by fear, pressure, or politics. Look at how the July administration is hoodwinking the Federation with this bold-faced cover-up of the fraud and corruption in housing. Also the fraud, corruption, and money laundering in our CBI program. And although elections are not constitutionally due before 2027, there are many political conversations taking place all over the Federation. Right here on Straight Talk, we take part in many of those conversations on a weekly basis. Countless of people can't wait to see the back of Terence Michael July and his bunch of experts. And you can hear them saying quietly, "I well want elections come, let me vote them out." And bold constituents like Kendra, who is black and proud, and as the song goes, she will say it loud each time, my Straight Talk family. And I love Kendra for that.
Telling you. Anyway, people, friendly reminder, we are having faith in God. We are standing firm. What we are not doing is voting Labour again. Okay?
I love Kendra. Yes, there are many Kendras who are having faith in God, who are standing firm and will not vote for Labour again. But in everything, there are exceptions. And a few of these elections are easily bought. And we heard that coming from our Prime Minister July. One lady told me some wonderful things about her Labour Party, she called it, and her Prime Minister. But she shocked me when she spoke in glowing terms of the Attorney General, Garth Lucifer Wilkin. She shocked me. And I pondered as to whether it was because of the color of his skin for her. For to her, Lucifer was like Jesus. She seemed to like his arrogance, my Straight Dog family. She seemed to like the arrogance of Lucifer. And that lady, like I said, shocked me. But she seemed to like, as I said, his arrogance.
They call me Lucifer. But I ain't afraid of nobody, you know. I ain't afraid of nobody. But they want to demonize people for the sake of politics. Nasty people. And this house, which is a house where people are elected to serve, and those people choose other people to serve with them, is the place to tell our people when certain things are not acceptable in a society.
And my Straight Dog family, another die-hard Labour supporter, living overseas in St. Thomas, who calls into Straight Talk on a regular basis, went beyond the pale to suggest that God gave us Labour. You believe that, my Straight Talk family? He said this. Okay.
God has created a Labour government. God has created a Labour government in the past. God has created a Labour government in the past to help the poor people.
Oh, man.
And because of the Labour government that God has created, the Bradford and all those strong farmer leaders that God has given the wisdom and the strength to bring our country to where it is today.
Your God is a biased God. He only create Labour.
No, he's not biased. He's not biased. I'm saying because he took the government from the slave.
And my Straight Talk family, that's a caller I always tell him to start once upon a time. But this is another stark reminder of the biblical account found in the Gospel of St. Luke. When Pontius Pilate gave the crowd a choice, and for die-hard supporters like this one overseas, he will always elect Barabbas. And when we examine, my Straight Dog family, the current pickle in which this Terence Michael July administration has put our country upon the advice of Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin. And yes, he advises the Prime Minister, he advises the Cabinet, and every single department of government. And he made no idle boast of that.
The Attorney General, by definition, is the legal advisor to the government.
Okay.
Most things that government does has to be vetted for legality first. So that is why that concept of engine of the government is so accurate, because almost anything that needs to be done in government has to come to the Attorney General's office for sign-off, basically. You know, contracts, any opinions, any claims, any constitutional matters, all of that comes to the office of the Attorney General to then relay back or send it back to the different ministries and the different ministers. In addition to sitting in cabinet, and then cabinet decisions, if there are any legal issues that arise, I have to advise cabinet on those issues.
It's a lot.
All right, so given what you've said so far, and obviously it's been a whirlwind 3 months, I imagine.
Yes.
Indeed. Can we say that the Attorney General's office also serves to protect the people in one way or the other?
Yes.
Do you believe that, my Straight Dog family? Protects who? My Straight Dog family, what experience does Garth Lucifer Wilkin have to be given such an enormous amount of power and responsibility? None, I dare say. And power. Why would anyone and or any country or government vest so much power into the office of a green, inexperienced individual like Garth Lucifer Wilkin, who knows nothing about business, who knows nothing about economics, or worse yet, about law? Remember, very early in his term, Garth Lucifer Wilkin demonstrated his arrogance and clear intentions to abuse his power and the law. When he threatened my Straight Dog family, he threatened to embarrass ordinary citizens of this country. We remember this, I'm sure.
Well, first of all, let me explain. Decisions to prosecute for crimes under our Constitution is solely within the purview of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Governments can't decide whether to prosecute previous governments. For minor infractions, we can take persons before the Public Service Commission so that with the evidence that we have, and they could potentially be removed from the public service. Today, well, after yesterday and some things that I discovered, I might be publicly embarrassing some people, which might actually be worse than going to prison. I'm contemplating whether I should do that, and I'm minded more so about 70-30 to embarrass some people who might not have been corrupt, but were, I don't want to use the word I used earlier, but not very friendly towards our treasury, and I'm not going to tolerate that, and I'm going to embarrass some people. Also, we are considering appointing a special prosecutor.
And imagine my Straight Dog family. Remember as well, he also threatened to take away our telephones. Do you believe this, my Straight Dog family?
There are laws in this country that make it a criminal offense to either make or forward statements, letters, any sort of art, communications by electronic device that either harasses, threatens, intimidates, molests other people. It is called unlawful communications. And Madam Speaker, I want the people of this country to know that if the culture of forwarding and sending around things that could cause harm to other people is not stopped voluntarily by the goodwill and decency within your heart, the police are going to have to stop it. And the police have the authority and they have the law to take your phone, and don't matter what you delete, it can be found. And the police will charge you and bring you to justice. So,
the audacity, as we say in my children's family. So intoxicated is this young idiot. Yes, so drunk he got with power. Even you in the diaspora are not out of Lucifer's reach. He threatened to extradite you, recall. How could Garth Lucifer Wilkin uphold the law when in fact he broke the law? And this is a question that will haunt Lucifer until he resigns as Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs, my Shredog family, because he broke the law and should have been sent to jail.
Maybe Mr. Wilkins should be disclosing what's happened. Maybe Mr. Wilkins should disclose that he had failed to pay Social Security benefits for 15 months on one occasion, on another occasion for 5 months, and another one for about three or 4 months. And all of that is contrary to the law. And it is not a simple matter of just saying, oh, you just pay the fines. Because what you expose yourself to there is criminal action. And isn't this something that should be told to everybody? That if you do not pay your Social Security benefits, you are liable to be prosecuted. You hold yourself up for that possibility.
My Straight Dog family, look at the damage Garth Lucifer Wilkin has done to the justice system. He handpicked a director of public prosecution whose job is subject to his approval, my Straight Dog family.
Can you walk us through the process of what is involved in selecting a DPP for St. Kitts and Nevis?
Okay, well, the former DPP, the previous one, his contract ended in September last year. So when we appointed an acting DPP in the interim, and we proceeded to develop the terms of reference that we wanted to put out for the advertisements. So the team within the ministry met, and we said, these are the education requirements, these are the experience requirements, these are the personal requirements that we want to see. And we went about issuing a request for persons to submit their resumes at about, I think it was in December or January this year. And we received 7 applications. And what we did, we then conducted interviews. So an interview panel, the head of the civil service, the permanent secretary in the ministry, the solicitor general, and myself. And we sat with the individuals and we just had conversations. And what was important for me is what the DPP would bring to the table in terms of the advancement of the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. So that was a key element in our discussion. And at the end of the day, we felt that Mr. Smith was the best candidate out of the persons that interviewed, and he was offered the opportunity, and he gratefully took the opportunity, and we're excited to see what he will be able to bring to the DPPO.
And my Straight Dog family, if that is not bad enough, as the great-grandson of a slave owner, Lucifer convinced the descendants of slaves in the Terence Michael July cabinet to introduce and pass a judge-only trial legislation in St. Kitts and Nevis. And to make matters worse, a white Irish judge sits on our bench or on the bench And just a few days ago, I am told he sentenced one of our black sons to 45 years in jail. And like Pontius Pilate, I ask this Holy Week, who shall we elect to run the affairs of our country? And a tiny minority shouted, give us Barabbas. My Straight Talk family, look at the current housing debacle in St. Kitts and Nevis. The slow student Jeffrey Hanley told us about a $600 million contract. My Straight Talk family, remember the slow student told us this.
Good day, citizens and residents. I am taking the opportunity to address the nation on the government of St. Kitts and Nevis' progress in providing affordable home owners solutions. As a government, we believe that it is critically important for our citizens and residents to become home owners, and as such, has made it a top priority to create affordable housing solutions that will meet the ever-growing housing demand. Today, as the Minister responsible for Housing and Human Settlement, I am pleased to formally announce that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and National Housing Corporation (NHC) has signed a contract with East Coast Housing Development, a Trinidadian-based developer, to finance and deliver 2,400 affordable smart homes over a period of 4 years, 600 of which will be made available each year. EC's $600 million has been sourced by this developer to fund the project, and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, through NHC, will facilitate the development and be the point of access for the citizens who are interested in procuring a smart home.
And my Straight Talk family, we ask the question, is this contract still a valid contract? That's the question we ask, my Straight Talk family. Is this contract still a valid contract? This slow student, Jeffrey Hanley, said that the Attorney General, my Straight Talk family, the slow student said that the Attorney General was looking at the contract. And he also said that government has lost no money. Yes, the slow student said this as well.
Directly to the question that was asked, as you know, as a country, we engage the East Coast Housing Development in assisting us in delivering some homes. Unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
And my Straight Talk family, East Coast Housing Development's office is battered down as if a hurricane is coming. Locked. Government has not lost any money, Jeffrey Hanley has told the nation. But then tell us how much money was paid to Brian Singh and East Coast Housing Development. Tell us what has become of the government guarantee. My Straight Talk family, this Terence Michael July government seems to be blowing with the wind. Promises made, but never kept. Capital projects announced, my Straight Talk family, are forever on the way. But what about the illicit and organized fraud? Well, that is the latest pickle in which this July government has found itself. Recall, my Straight Talk family, a few weeks ago, I told you that a CBI scam with another name is still a scam. And there are CBI scams within and outside this current Terence Michael July administration. Look, for example, at the new Basseterre High School to be constructed under the public benefit option of the CBI, meaning that a benefactor was approved and allocated shares or units at a legal price, in this case, US $250,000 per unit. This benefactor, my Straight Talk family, is therefore expected to construct this project, estimated at EC dollars 100 million or 40 million US dollars. Upon completion, the benefactor, yes, is expected to hand the asset over to the government. But hear this. It is reliably rumored that the CIU has issued 1,200 shares for this project. Well, 1,200 shares at $250,000. And you know, mathematics is my strongest weak point, but I'll take a guess. That's 300 million US dollars. Take away 40 million US dollars. Then who are the CBI scams to benefit from the remaining US $260 million? Over $600 million. And like Pontius Pilate, I ask, who will you elect? And a few of those camps in squeaky voices say, give me Barabbas, give me Barabbas. But what is more troubling, however, my Straight Talk family, is the financial coup that has already plundered and seized between St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Lucia over 4.5 billion US dollars. Yes, that's right. The financial coup that has already plundered and seized $4.5 billion. These CBI scams have done that when you take St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Lucia combined. And we know, in a widely publicized case brought by MSR Media Limited against Prime Minister July in St. Kitts Nevis, the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin has foolishly refused to answer pertinent questions. One such question is the AG part of a conspiracy to defraud an investor or to cover up criminal activity by a colleague minister in his cabinet and the former chairman of the CBI Board of Governors? Was the AG made privy to this communication, my Straight Dog family, addressed to Prime Minister July? Was he made privy to this letter in the form of an email? He boasted, the advisor for everything. And this email reads, without prejudice. I should take that. Was the Prime Minister made aware of this? It is addressed to Lucifer. Without prejudice. Dear God, I want to thank you for the generous time you have given to resolve the issues. We have discussed with our legal team and decided to end the discussion for a possible resolution with the entities and companies that will be sued on May 17. That will include Dr. Douglas, the bank, and the corresponding bank. MSR Media plans to attend the St. Kitts and Nevis CBI July event and will meet you there. He tried to settle out of court the matter for his colleague in cabinet, but the claimant refused to accept monies coming from one of those persons that he has sued, my Street Dog family. And so, we ask, what advice did Garth Lucifer Wilkin give to his Prime Minister, Terence Michael July? After all, it must be a fair question, since Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin, in a WhatsApp message, opined, and he sent several WhatsApp messages, and he opined that the CBI entertains scams, my Street Dog family. This is coming from the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin, my Street Dog family. Why was the case brought against the former chairman of the CBI Board of Governors suddenly discontinued and removed from the court list? That's another question we ask. Why was this case discontinued? Magistrate court trial was set since last year. The DPP versus Sylvester Anthony, the former chairman of the Board of Governors of the CBI. And he failed to furnish a declaration under the Integrity in Public Life Act. Anthony, we are told, resigned after failing to file a declaration under the IPL Act. In the meantime, Terence Michael July received commendation for bringing Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Dominica together and having them all consent to an MOU that forbids underselling. Prime Minister July went further and criminalize underselling, my Street Dog family.
Speaker, we criminalize in those regulations underselling. For the first time, it became a crime that, of course, carries penalties, Madam Speaker. That is how serious we were about making sure that the CBI would be set as the whole of government on the principles of good governance. Madam Speaker, underselling occurs when a CBI stakeholder seeks to discount the statutory minimum investment sum required to be made by an applicant seeking to apply for citizenship by investment. By December 2022, we had been informed that underselling practices became normal in the overall CBI industry, Madam Speaker. I'm not speaking of St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm talking about this as an industry, all over. We, however, would not tolerate such practices and therefore made it specifically a criminal offense for the first time in 40 years, or in the 40-year history of our CBI program, Madam Speaker.
But Prime Minister July's hands were caught in the cookie jar to use a colloquial term, as he has committed fraud since he signed off on thousands of CORs in 2023 after passing and publishing the legislation in the public gazette in December 2022 and thus bringing it into law. My Straight Talk family, a financial coup was staged over a long period of time on the backs of the people in the Caribbean CBI countries. The net has captured from all accounts thus far a deputy prime minister in St. Lucia, 3 prime ministers in St. Kitts and Nevis, 2 former and 1 current, an attorney general and former chairman of the board of governors and others. Former Prime Minister Timothy Harris filed a lawsuit for defamation of his character. It is reliably rumored that Denzel Douglas tried to negotiate his way out. Terrence Michael Drew and others are protected in what seems like a big cover-up by the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin. But time will tell. Martinez told the world, my Straight Talk family, that he filed a whistleblower complaint with the U.S. Department of Justice. Martinez, who some call the Elon Musk of the Caribbean, who heads the Department of Government Transparency, he told the world this.
That my American lawyers in Washington have filed a 32-page document, which is a whistleblower complaint at the U.S. Department of Justice and at FinCEN, which is the financial crime network in the United States. And therefore, there are things that I can say and things that I cannot say.
And my Straight Talk family, that's understood. And Martinez, we are also told, is in possession of bank accounts. My Straight Talk family, many bank accounts.
Early in January, a miracle happened, and my American lawyer, pursuant to the court order that we won in Florida, received all the bank transaction of all these people from Bank of America. I repeat, MSR Media is now in possession of all bank transaction for Caribbean Galaxy, Ying Jing, Denzel Douglas, Timothy Harris, CS Global Partner, Farron Lawrence and his company, Sylvester Anthony.
And my Straight Talk family, my research has informed me that under the United States Money Laundering Control Act, the U.S. government gets extraterritorial jurisdiction in cases where money flows through the U.S. banking system. And that must be troubling for those named in the 32-page criminal complaint filed with the U.S. Department of Justice. We're told some had condos in Dubai.
They're now in possession of everything. So the condos in Dubai that certain ministers have purchased, we have the bank transaction. Everything.
And Straight Talk as well, my Straight Talk family, has located the buildings in which this Minister of Government has 2 condos, right at Demac Majestine. So my Straight Talk family, we are following closely this case. The cry of "Give us Barabbas" is a haunting echo from biblical history. It finds unsettling resonance in modern politics, where constituents sometimes choose loyalty to a flawed leader over ethical governance. And there are real-world examples. They are plentiful. We can think of Brazil, where former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva was convicted of corruption and imprisoned, recall. Yet he retained a devoted following, especially among the working class, who credited him with lifting millions out of poverty. Da Silva was later released and, believe it or not, was re-elected in 2022. Denzel Douglas was thrown out of parliament and again re-elected. In Russia, Vladimir Putin has maintained high approval ratings despite allegations of authoritarianism and elite enrichment, beg your pardon. Many Russians view him as a restorer of national pride and stability. Thus the cry, "Give us Barabbas," where people knowingly support a compromised leader or figure, reveals the emotional and transactional nature of political allegiance. In St. Kitts and Nevis, however, my straight dog family, the majority of people, I can assure you, at the start of this Holy Week, when they crucified Jesus Christ, and on the third day, remember, he rose again. And I can hear the people of St. Kitts and Nevis shouting, "Give us Barabbas, give us Barabbas," so we can send them all to jail. That's my story tonight, my straight dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, I'll do so momentarily. I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let's ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, we go to the lines and say, good night, caller. You are live.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Hello, good night.
The quote for this evening. We crucify ourselves between two thieves. Regret for yesterday and fear of tomorrow.
Regret for yesterday and the fear of tomorrow.
Regret for yesterday and fear of tomorrow. I repeat, we crucify ourselves between two thieves. Regret for yesterday and fear of tomorrow. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening as well, my straight dog family. Yes, we crucify ourselves between two thieves. Regret for yesterday and fear of tomorrow. Yes, the lines are open, my straight dog family. And that's my usual call. I welcome each time. Gives us some thought-provoking quotations. But my straight dog family, give us Barabbas. Some may tell us, give us Barabbas so we can send them all to jail. Yes, we know the Barabbases. There's more than one Barabbas in St. Kitts and in Nevis as well, my straight dog family. Let's go back to the lines at 7 past the 9 o'clock hour.
Back to the lines.
Call you live.
Mr. Straight Talk.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. How are you, my wonderful brother?
Peaceful, my brother from another mother. How are you?
This sounds good tonight.
Yeah.
that court lady make me laugh. I never yes that we get caught between two thieves. Mr. Shedak, I want to do one thing for me. I was listening to your program there last week, on Saturday because I had to do something yesterday. And I see you play Simmons. And I want to see, he come like he was pointing his finger when he said not to bring Timothy. But when I go to the phone, he come like he quickly changed his hand. So I want you to play it back for me, let me see. Because I remember when when Clinton had getting his problem, they say, Clinton, look at him. He's pointing his finger, but he's not pointing his finger. His finger had a slight thing, and they say, anytime you're doing that show, that you don't really mean it, it's not the truth. So I want to see his finger to see if it's straight or it just crooked. Because when they tell us that, I really looked at the man's finger and the man's finger was slightly bent. He didn't have, when you're going to point, you're going to straight it, but he had his coat. So I did see something there, but I just want to make sure. So when we get after here, you just do what you have to do. And let me just say good night to my wonderful people and my brother there in Belgrade and his son Georgie. Brother Culture, how are you doing? And my lovely niece there in St. Louis. Abijani, you guys be good, and Ellis. Mr. Stratak, how are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. I'm peaceful.
My Texas queen and everybody good. Man, you just got to do what you got to do. You. I don't know why if that guy that something didn't go right. He shouldn't do what he do, but I'm going to leave it there because you leave it. So let's close it down. Mr. Strater, just do what you got to do. Understand? You're doing a wonderful job, and the people. See, we got somebody listening in Jamaica. So you just continue to do what you do, because without straight talk, we don't know what will be going on. So we just want to thank you for your wonderful dedication that you keep dedication to do this thing. God bless you. Take care of yourself, and see you when I see you. See you soon.
Yes, my
Abracadabra.
Yes, my dear brother. And we normally give our Straight Dog family whatever they request. Reluctantly, I play this, but it was requested. He said this.
I want to say to people on the People's Action Movement, all right? I want to say to them, look, don't be bothered by all this hullabaloo and what Pam doing. People are desperate for Pam. Mm-hmm. People want Pam to show up, and this is time for Pam to show up. Right? Because, and I'll talk straight, you know. What Pam
look
has
in the camera and talk straight to him.
What Pam has to do right now, right, is to concentrate on winning all 8 of the seats in St. Kitts. I don't want to hear what you're going to do after. Anything we're going to do after, we can be thought of. You begin to think of it after. Our business is to go there, strengthen Pam. Right? I will tell you further that the man, we open for business, and we are welcoming everybody. Labor people who are disgruntled with this ridiculous Labor government we have. They don't know their tail bone from the elbow. Right? I mean, they are total embarrassment. I am saying, right now, people want Pam. People are looking to Pam, but so don't mind the negative articles that come from someone who used to support Pam and so on and so on. Never mind that. I am calling out to people, Labour people, who are dissatisfied, PLP people, man, all of you, there's room for all of you. One thing, don't bring Timothy when you come in.
My brother wanted to see the finger positions, but let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live.
Okay, good night.
Good night, my brother.
And how are you, Mr. Pattis?
I am peaceful. Yourself, Mr. Bibleman?
Now, here ya. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good.
His mercies endureth.
For his mercy endureth forever.
Yes.
He said, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. We had redeemed from the hands of the enemy. And my favorite passage scripture tonight, because I have to say something tonight. Blessed is the man that considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. That is, I come and straight talk tonight to tell somebody that the Bible said, depart from evil and do good and pursue it. That is, when you do good in the sight of the living God, you are going to be rewarded by God. And Father, you have to do it with a clean heart and a pure heart. God is going to deliver you from everything that come at you. And I want to say that that people must understand that when you look after the poor people, that is a crown, that is a star in your crown. That is, I remember the time that when you was in power, you look after the poor people in East Bastia. And right now, God is really blessing you mightily. But they don't know how you're getting it done, but God have you. And so tonight, God that put people in places to look after the poor people. When he put Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat went into the Lord, and when the three enemies come against Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat went into the Lord. And I want to say tonight that people must understand and why you sow and why you're gonna reap. So when you start to trodden down the poor people, when it got to do them all kind of manner of evil, people must remember that God is over watching you.
Okay.
And listen, all what you have, I can tell you tonight, all what you have, maybe I ain't got the time to spend it.
True.
And maybe go from you before you leave this side. So please, I beg in all your heart to look after the poor people. But I say you good night.
Yes, have a good night as well. Bible man, always welcome your spiritual contributions. Caller, you're live. I thank you for holding. Hello, caller.
Yes, thank you, Brother Patches. As I will
my pleasure, sir.
Recognize you as Mr. Moderator, and to the listening audience, as I stand before you tonight, I am not a writer of speech, but I'm a man who talks the truth, and words and wisdom come to my mind. As I stand forth to the people of the Federation of St. Kitts, I am making a short presentation of a man that come forth for the first time in any time of history or truth of bad deeds and dark cloud that was shadowing over our heads. And our heads, I'm talking about the people of the Federation of St. Kitts. And it go further to other islands, but I will deal with St. Kitts and Nevis. I wish to introduce as the popular man known and being described as the Elon Musk of the Caribbean, Mr. Philip Martinez. First of all, to all those who had deemed him to be fraudster, convicted criminal. Well, my friend, yes, if he was, he paid his time to society. And the man has become recompense and a different person moving forward, where he was appointed by some supernatural to let us know what was going on with our patrimony. And I must say, thanks be to God. Should there anyone stand forth and try to condemn this man's work, well, they condemn my oration right now too. I stand with Mr. Philip Martinez. I stand with the truth and the facts that has been revealed. People of St. Kitts, listen up. The man is factual and credible to your country's affairs. Mr. Philip Martinez is doing the Caribbean CBI islands a great justice. He didn't ask for any money. He didn't ask for anything. But he was held with dragging the country through the mud. Well, to whom it may concern, prove his dedication, his work, to be fraud also, if you dare are factual or contrary to his work. I will leave it there. I have more to be added, but I must say, to God be the glory, and thank God for Philip Martinez. More information is yet to come, and he has the backing of the United States State Department of Justice, and it's all in the name of the people from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you. I will stop there. I will yield to other callers, and I will try again should needs be. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you very much for your contribution. As usual, no stranger to straight talk. Always assertive, always straightforward and to the point. And we go back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Caller, you live. Hello,
Patrice, good night. How are you? Good night.
I am peaceful, sir. Good night.
I'm coming to you in the name of the... I'm fine. I'm coming to you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen.
Amen.
On a holy week, a holy Monday. And I heard you say that you're going to church for the Legends Thursday and you'll be having communion. I hope when you have communion on Thursday, you will have a proper conduct of service and not maligning anyone's name in a special type of way. You would keep a pure heart after having communion. You would make some confession to your bishop or to your priest and continue the Thursday to the Friday, holy and awesome. In the name of the Father and in the name of the Son after taking the Holy Communion. But let me move on to my other subject, Patrice. You play back some clip there. And the Attorney General of taking phone and searching individual phones. I want to educate you. There's a law on that. And the Attorney General demonstrates that in his conversation. And there's a law on that in the United States. So I hope you could educate the people of St. Kitts that there's a law on that. And the Attorney General have the right to demonstrate that law. But he's a young guy. He's very cautious. He's not forceful. And that's why so many people is getting away with so many things that has done wrong in St. Kitts and not been prosecuted And my next point, you're calling maybe Jew or whomever Barabbas. Have you ever studied the life of Barabbas? I'm asking you a question.
Make a point, caller. Are you a Barabbas?
Okay. The life. You're giving Jew a very much good name, which is good. because Barabbas was a freedom fighter.
He was a murderer too.
He was a
killer,
freedom
and
fighter.
A thief.
He was a freedom fighter. You have the story. You have the story on Barabbas wrong.
He was
You
a
have the
murderer too.
story.
You know, he was a murderer too.
No,
and a thief.
he was a freedom fighter. He was fighting.
Yes.
He was fighting because the Roman was overtaxing the people. He was overtaxing the people. Let me have my opinion because I did my research. Okay? He was taxing the Roman was taxing the people, and Barabbas was a freedom fighter for the people of Israel because he was a follower of Christ also. But the only reason why Barabbas turned away from Christ, because he was a revolution fighter. He believed in revolution. Christ was not like that.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Okay?
I'll tell you.
Learn the story about Barabbas. Don't mislead the people.
Watch it. Barabbas was a
Don't mislead the people.
Right? Barabbas was a Jewish bandit and a rabble rousers.
This Barabbas hang on the cross. This Barabbas hang on the cross, Patrick.
Because the people chose a bandit.
Because the man was trying to liberate the people, just like what the Labour government is trying to do. Liberate people from your all. Okay, Patches? Okay. And in this same token, you must do your research a little properly before you try to malign the Labour government or some doctor from this Nancy story.
Come and tell you. No, you're talking Nancy story. Let me tell you about Barabbas for a moment, right? Don't shout. Take your time, right? Take your time. Just take your time. Just listen for it. You had the flow for I live, right? Barabbas, right, was a Jewish bandit and rabble rouser who went to prison. He was imprisoned by the Romans, right? The only thing he got chosen over Jesus. He got chosen over Jesus. And a thief, a bandit. Are you a Barabbas? Have yourself a wonderful night, my brother. Right? you said God. Anyway, yeah, I think we tolerated you. I could hear everybody saying, get him off the line with his nonsense. Have yourself have yourself. Okay, my brother. Have yourself a wonderful night. Have a good night, brother.
All right.
He said Barabbas was a good man. Imagine that. But my Straight Talk family, that is what Straight Talk is all about. And that is the same man, who said he said what God chose labor for us. Imagine that. Good night, Patches. In the book of Luke in the Bible, the people beckoned Pontius Pilate to crucify Christ and give them the murderer Barabbas. Read your Bible. This is an email I'm reading here. Pontius Pilate washed his hands, then gave the people their wish, and as a result, Christ was crucified. August 2022 in St. Kitts Nevis, Team Unity was crucified, and a Barabbas Labour government was elected to govern. Now the Barabbases quickly put us under continuous anesthetics as we lay on the operating table, conscious but numb and watching with open eyes as they continue to rape the treasury without any semblance of remorse. The Barabbases gave their friends and family $1 million gifts without the required bidding process for leaky water buckets. The now abandoned Bradshaw Museum and the $2 million desalination plant, just to name a few. The Barabbases, having graduated from prison to enjoy freedom of the treasury fortune, they looted the treasury and became super millionaires in a mere 2 short years. We lay helplessly alive as the Barabbases seal our coffin with IMF spikes, the same IMF coffin that Dr. Harris had recently released us from. We remain numb as our Barabbases, children and spouses set up a private foundation as a quick witch scheme to further enrich their family. When the Barabbases meet with a sheikh, sultan or investor and they are offered millions as a gift or bribe, the Barabbases will simply tell them to donate it to their specific foundation. Then Switzerland, here come the Barabbases. We need more Philippe Martinez in this country to slap us back to sanity, to realize that we made a big mistake when we could proclaim, give us Labour Barabbas and crucify Team Unity. Perhaps that's a good response, that email, for my earlier caller there, my Straight Talk family. Good night, Patches. Could you please let us know the two persons who July is taken to court to sue them for $500,000? Why July could not tell us the name of the two persons and what was said to cause such a move? You know the name of the persons and the reason for taking them to court. Just want to know. Well, that too has evaded me. I know one name. I haven't even confirmed it. It was an Annette Frank. I don't know what she said or did to defame the good July, but I guess in time we will know. Patches, the U.S. government has stated that the professional doctors and nurses who travel the globe to render medical services, including St. Kitts, is a form of human trafficking. Well, if that is human trafficking, the U.S. government will consider that the plain laws of people, labor, and CCM bringing to vote must be regarded as human trafficking by the U.S. government. I'm advising persons not to take the risk to come down to vote, lest you end up being unable to return to the U.S. Even citizens who serve the army in the U.S. are having challenges to remain in the U.S. Citizens, be aware, be wise. Do not take the risk to travel to St. Kitts to vote. Read this email. It's 9:30, my Straight Dog family. It's to the bottom. We are to the bottom of the hour. You may have just joined me. And we are looking at our thesis for tonight. Give us Barabbas. And my Straight Talk family, it's a story as we embark on this Holy Week. This first day, Monday, is the first day of Holy Week, which I'm sure we all know. And as we embark on the week, it's going to be a very interesting week when we have our different days. And just for that caller, I did not say that I'm going to church on Thursday. I said I may miss my church on Thursday because we will have a very special guest on Thursday night. And I will circulate or advertise the name on Wednesday, but it's a program you should not miss. I encourage you not to miss the program. But today commemorates events like Jesus cleansing the temple in Jerusalem and cursing the fig tree. And the basic story is that Jesus is hungry, sees a fig tree with leaves, but finds no fruit on it. In response, he curses the tree, saying, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." Later, the disciples see that the tree has withered. And cursing the fig tree is not about frustration or being angry. It's a symbolic act that teaches about the danger of spiritual emptiness and religious hypocrisy and the importance of genuine faith that produces real fruit. So this is a time, as I mentioned earlier, to open our minds, to open ourselves to compassion and to selflessness. It's a time to practice empathy. And we are challenged, my Straight Talk family, to love one another as Jesus loved us. But loving one another does not mean we cannot correct our brothers and our sisters and tell them when they are wrong. And when they're wrong, they're wrong. Not because they are our brothers, our sisters, our friends, they're wrong, and we tell them they're right. Not at all. especially here on Straight Talk, we don't ever do that. We tell you when you're wrong. We expose you. And come Friday, my Straight Talk family, it will be a solemn day, marking the crucifixion and death of Jesus. And we carry out our tradition of kite flying all over St. Kitts and Nevis. But my Straight Talk family, as I mentioned earlier, the significance of the death of Jesus and what it means to the world is a powerful story, very powerful story. But the part about Barabbas is often overlooked. It is a story of misplaced justice. The crowd shouts for Barabbas, and Pilate, Pontius Pilate, knowing Jesus was innocent, still handed him over. It's a scene of twisted justice, manipulated power, and mob mentality. And this guy can tell him how Barabbas was what? But what is happening now in St. Kitts and Nevis, and by extension the Caribbean, reminds us how easily truth can be drowned out by fear, by pressure, or by politics. And I state here again and now that we must look at how the July administration is hoodwinking the Federation with a bald-faced cover-up of the fraud and corruption in housing. Why don't he talk about the housing and the fraud and corruption and money laundering in the CBI? And my Straight Talk family, although elections are not constitutionally due before 2027, we are having many political conversations taking place all over the Federation and in the diaspora. Right here on Straight Talk, we take part in many of those conversations on a Monday and a Thursday on a weekly basis. And I can tell my friend and all my friends and everyone that countless of people cannot wait to see the back of Terence Michael July and his bunch of experts. And you can hear them saying quietly, "I well want elections come, let me vote them out." A lot of people are not bold like Kendra. And I love Kendra, like I said, she's black and proud. I remember that song, the James Brown song? Say it loud, we're black and proud. Well, Kendra reminds me of that James Bond song. And she makes no matters. She tells you like it is.
Telling you. Anyway, people, friendly reminder, we are having faith in God. We are standing firm. What we are not doing is voting Labour again. Okay?
And that's the general view. And we just like to hear it. But Straight Talk must bring in the facts. And yes, there are many Kendras who are having faith in God this Holy Monday, who are standing firm and will not vote for Labour again. Yes, there are exceptions and we have to be careful because July said that elections are easily bought. And one lady told me, I said, some wonderful things about the Labour Party. She called it her Labour Party and her Prime Minister. She shocked me when she spoke in glowing terms about the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin. And I pondered as to whether it was because of the color of his skin. For to her, Lucifer was like Jesus. She seemed to like his arrogance. And that's all he gives us, is arrogance. arrogance to the fullest, my Straight Dog family. Yes.
They call me Lucifer. But I ain't afraid of nobody, you know. I ain't afraid of nobody. But they want to demonize people for the sake of politics. Nasty people. And this house, which is a house where people are elected to serve, and those people choose other people to serve with them, is the place to tell our people when certain things are not acceptable in a society.
And I can hear you say, nobody afraid you, Lucifer. Nobody afraid you. But we won't stop until you tender your resignation. You have committed, or rather have transgressed the law. How can you execute the law? Good evening, sir. I see that Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew is now becoming Prime Minister Dr. Sue. Now he has launched yet another suit for defamation, this time against Miss Annette Frank. When Dr. Sue is not traveling on useless, unnecessary, and expensive excursions, he appears to occupy his time instructing lawyers to sue the citizens of the Federation. This man is a simpleton and a very poor example of a Prime Minister. Is this the same Prime Minister, Dr. Sue, who week after week goes to the Parliament to call out people by name in his attempt to shame, ridicule, and bully them? Dr. Sue, here's some free advice for you. Read this email. Do your damn job. Clown, we have not put you in office to harass the citizens of the Federation with frivolous lawsuits. Read this email. And just like him, Lucifer is just as bad and worse, my Straight Dog family. At 9:41, my Straight Dog family, you have just joined me. Again, we are looking at the thesis. Give us Barabbas. Good night, Patches reads this email. He always calling the program and chatting nonsense. This man from St. Thomas, he got facts? What facts? Reads this email. And we go back to the lines and say, caller, your line. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches. Maybe this might be my last call. I have a message for you. And Mr. Martinez is asking if you could ask the Attorney General pertaining to the documentation that they held up and tried to keep in a credenza, a file cabinet, so to speak, that no citizen of the Federation of St. Kitts can interpret or understand or read those documentation. Why is he holding them up and not releasing them to the public? There are public notice, there are public records. Why they are suppressing them? And Mr. Patches, I heard you said you will like to be in presence of certain hearings in DC. Well, call my number off the record, not on the year, and you will be able to. Maybe you have contact for such a thing. I will not reveal that information. But all those kleptocrats and misfits, their days are numbered. Time is longer than twine. I don't know why they don't confess and bow out from trying to be a portray an icon that they are not. They are traveling and holding a false hope. Bye for now. Thank you. You know my number. Just give me a call. Let's see if we are aligned. Bye for now again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's 17 before the 10 o'clock hour. For those who are joining us for the first time, Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. And yes, we are going to have a very special guest on Thursday. I would not like to tell you the name, but take my word, it's going to be a program you would remember for a long time to come. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family that Straight Talk this coming Thursday would have a very special guest. Later in the week, I'll tell you who that guest is. But we are going to talk the facts. We'll look at the genesis of the CBI for someone who actually was integral in the operations of the CBI way back in 1983. And someone who, in fact, worked with the then Ambassador Extra Plenipotentiary. My Straight Talk family, as we were saying earlier, that as I said earlier, I should say, that this lady told me about Lucifer. And this diehard Labour supporter in St. Thomas as well spoke about his government. And Mark is his government. He must support his government. But he must not get so blasphemous like this. Okay.
God has created a Labour government. God has created a Labour government in the past. God has created a Labour government in the past to help the poor people.
Oh man.
And because of the Labour government that God has created, the black children, all those strong farmer leaders that God has given the wisdom and the strength to bring our country to where it is today.
Your God is a biased God. He only create labor.
No, he's not biased. He's not biased. I'm saying because he took the government from the slave.
And you see, my Straight Talk family, this is another stark reminder of the biblical account found in the Gospel of St. Luke. When Pontius Pilate gave the crowd a choice, and for diehard supporters like this one overseas, he will always elect a Barabbas. And you will understand why. And when we examine the current pickle in which this Terence Michael July administration has put our country into, upon the advice of Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin. Yes, he advises the Prime Minister, he advises the Cabinet, and every single department of the government. This man is the advisor supreme.
The different departments within the Attorney General, by definition, is the legal advisor to the government.
Okay.
Most things that government does has to be vetted for legality first. So that is why that concept of engine of the government is so accurate, because almost anything that needs to be done in government has to come to the Attorney General's office for sign off, basically. You know, contracts, any opinions, any claims, any constitutional matters, all of that comes to the office of the Attorney General to then relay back or send it back to the different ministries and the different ministers. In addition to sitting in cabinet and then cabinet decisions, if there are any legal issues that arise, I have to advise cabinet on those issues.
What advice can you give? No wonder the country is in such disarray. What he can do is to cover up well. What he can do is to threaten us. It is nonsense about taking away our phones.
There are laws in this country that make it a criminal offense to either make or forward statements, letters, any sort of art, communications by electronic device that either harasses, threatens, intimidates, molests other people. It is called unlawful communications. And Madam Speaker, I want the people of this country to know that if the culture of forwarding and sending around things that could cause harm to other people is not stopped voluntarily by the goodwill and decency within your heart, the police are going to have to stop it. And the police have the authority and they have the law to take your phone, and don't matter what you delete, it can be found. And the police will charge you and bring you to justice. So,
don't be afraid, my Straight Talk family, that idle talk. And if that is not bad enough, as the great-grandson of a slave owner, Lucifer, convinced those descendants of slaves in the cabinet to introduce and pass judge-only trial. And nobody wants to speak about it. And it sickens because there's a white Irish judge sitting on the bench. And just a few days ago, I'm told, sentenced one of our black sons to 45 years in jail. And I say, like Pontius Pilate, I ask this Holy Week, who shall we elect to run the affairs of our country? You say give us Barabbas? I say give us Barabbas. Yes, give us Barabbas. We'll send them all to jail, my Straight Dog family. Let's go back to the lines and say good night, caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Patches, good night, Marsha here.
Good night, my dear family.
Okay, Patches, good night. I call in tonight to commend you highly on this program. Patches, I just want to salute you tonight. Tonight, this is Holy Week, so I just want to keep it holy. But I hear lying down in my bed and I listen to you from since the start. And I must say, Patches, you is a mighty man. And you is a man for the hour. This Straight Talk program that you are doing Monday and Thursday night, it does reach very far, Patrice, because I realized that I was going to town today and the road that I spoke about, Garvey Road, it has been fixed. Probably they fixed it between either yesterday or this morning, but it has been fixed. The road that I talk about has been fixed. And I want to commend you for your program, for a great job you are doing. And I think that God is staying Straight Talk for such a time as this, for the people in the diaspora, for the people of the St. Kitts and Nevis, for edification. And I just want to commend you. Patches, before I go, I want to elaborate on something from the last program. I realized that you read an email that the person said that Marsha is lying. You know how we St. Kitts people talk. Probably the guy did say that he ain't it for the week. Maybe he mean for the day. But that's how people just talk. And it is not too good. So probably that, he was just putting on and say, Lord, me hungry, me not eat for the week. But probably he didn't mean for the day. So I just want to correct that. And continue to do it. Also, I want to say, continue to do what you are doing. And I want to say a pleasant good evening to my Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, who I love dearly, And I also want to tell you to hold the faith and continue doing what you're doing. Keep up the good work, Patrice. You are commended all over the world. People are listening to you. Not only saying it's on Nevis, all over. And you is the talk of the town right now to saying that you have the best program for out of all. So once again, I said, continue and kudos to you and keep up the good work. And have a pleasant good night and get home safe.
Have a good night and thanks. I'm humbled by your commendation, my dear. And it's 9:54 as we wind down tonight's programming. And I must remind you of the housing debacle in St. Kitts. The student told us about the $600 million contract. And we asked, is this contract still valid? The student said that the Attorney General was looking at the contract and government has lost no money. Why did he tell us that government has lost no money?
Directly to the question that was asked, as you know, as a country, we engage the East Coast Housing Development in assisting us in delivering some homes. Unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
My Straight Talk family, then tell us, how much money was paid to Brian Singh and the East Coast Housing Development that only constructed 2 homes? Tell us, what has become of the government guarantee? This Terence Michael July government, I should say, seems to be blowing in the wind. Promises are made but never kept. Capital projects are on the way forever. But it's the illicit and organized fraud that I'll leave you with tonight, my Straight Talk family. That is the latest pickle in which the July government has found itself. As I told you before, that the CBI scam with another name is still a scam. And there are CBI scams within and outside the current July administration. I told you about the New Bassi High School project. 1,200 units or shares. $300 million for a $40 million project. Who is expected to benefit from the remaining $260 million? Like Pontius Pilate, I ask, who will you elect? A few squeaky voices say, give me Barabbas. Give me Barabbas. But what is more troubling is the financial coup that has plundered over $4.5 billion between St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Lucia. And my Straight Talk family, the AG, the Attorney General, is the Attorney General, we ask, part of a conspiracy to defraud an investor or to cover up criminal activity by a colleague minister and in his cabinet and a former chairman of the CBI. Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin was made privy to what was going on in the CBI. This communication went to his attention. Did he respond? What did he say to the Prime Minister, my Straight Dog family? He was warned. Why was the case brought against the former chairman of the CBI Board of Governors? Suddenly, my Straight Dog family, suddenly it disappeared from the court list. Disappeared. What has happened to that case? What has happened to that case, my Straight Dog family? In the meantime, we are still in this pickle. July criminalized underselling. But Prime Minister July's hands were caught in the cookie jar, to use a colloquial term, as he committed fraud, having signed over 20,000 certificates of registration in 2023, after passing the legislation and publishing the legislation in the Public Gazette in 2022, which brought it into law. And my Straight Dog family, a financial coup has been staged over a long period of time on the backs of the people in the Caribbean CBI countries. But a net has captured from all accounts, thus far, a Deputy Prime Minister in St. Lucia and other officials, 3 Prime Ministers in St. Kitts and Nevis, an Attorney General and former Chairman of the Board of Governors and others. And my Straight Dog family, as we wind down tonight's programming, I did some research that informed me that under the U.S. Money Laundering Control Act, the U.S. government gets extraterritorial jurisdiction in cases where money flows through the U.S. banking system. The cry of Barabbas, my Straight Dog family, is a haunting echo from biblical history. And it finds unsettling resonance in modern politics, where constituents sometimes choose loyalty to a flawed leader over ethical governance. A former Prime Minister, we are told, has 2 condos in this project. When will we get all the facts, my Straight Dog family? When? In Dubai. Where did that Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, get all this money from to invest in 2 condos in Dubai? But I said, as I close, real world examples are plentiful. I spoke to Da Silva in Brazil. Was convicted of corruption and sent to jail. But he came back after release and was re-elected in 2022. The cry, "Give us Barabbas," where people knowingly support a compromised leader or figure, reveals the emotional and transactional nature of political allegiance. In St. Kitts Nevis, however, the majority of people remain adamant at the start of this Holy Week, when they crucified Jesus Christ, and on the third day he rose again, I can hear the people shouting. I hear the trumpet sounds and the voices shouting above the trumpet sounds. Give us Barabbas. Give us Barabbas so we can send them to jail, my Street Dog family. And my quotation given tonight by that lady from Nevis. I leave with you. We crucify ourselves between two thieves. Regret for yesterday and fear of tomorrow. Give us Barabbas. Give us Barabbas so we can send them all to jail. That's my story tonight, my Street Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. As always, I want to thank you, the many viewers, those who listen, those who sent emails, and those of you who just called. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spirit, we will connect on Thursday. Yes, on Thursday we'll have a special guest for Thursday night. It's something you won't regret. Spread the word that we have a special guest on Thursday night. It's going to be caustic, I can assure you. It's going to be factual. Some things we wanted to hear about would come from someone with authority. And that's where we're going to end it tonight. And I want to remind you that whatever your mind conceives, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of the night. Be good to all whom you